Alright, welcome back to another episode of Mike and Mayhem. Today we have 3 news stories about relationships, Christmas presents, and Halloween trick-or-treating. So, let's get into it right away. With the first one, I think I nuked my relationship with my boyfriend for drawing a hard line. Now, if you're nuking your relationship with a hard line, I'm not sure if it's too perfect, but hey, we'll see. I, 32F, and boyfriend, 32 male. My boyfriend and I have been together for nearly 2 years, living together for 1. He had purchased his house prior to dating, and I was renting an apartment, so it made sense for me to move into his house. He continued to pay the mortgage, and I took on all of the usage bills. All the utilities and annual maintenances, as well as the grocery shopping. We felt that it was only fair. As our anniversary is coming up, we've been talking about future timeline and where we see our relationship process. We're on the same page with all the big ideas. We know we want to marry each other and start a family following that. But to be in a position to start a family, the house is going to need a lot of renovations, and we have always thrown around the idea that the cost of the renovations would be my buy-in, so to say, on the house. From our estimate, what we would want to do would be around 100k at the low end. We even agreed that we could drop some kind of arrangement to protect both our interests financially. As it's gotten closer to reality of reaching out to contractors and banks, I've felt more and more unsettled about his situation. I feel conditioned in our relationship, but foolish to be making an investment in a boyfriend's asset. I told him that I would like to be engaged before starting the process too, so I feel like he's making a commitment to me as much as I am. We talked about being engaged prior to this, but he said adding this element makes it feel transactional and takes away the romance and sparkle of it all. I didn't tell him I want to be engaged by a specific date or anything like that. Just that if I renovated, it was what I wanted to pursue. This is the action I'd like to take beforehand. He seemed upset by this statement, and I feel like I really have taken some of the romance and surprise out of the idea of a proposal of being engaged. The morning after this conversation, he was cold and tense. I can't help but feel like I've done irreparable damage, but I don't feel wrong in making the request. Am I being reasonable? Is this recoverable? Well, the point is, I don't think you're the asshole, because there's a lot of things that you can do, or at least that he can do. Like, he could just say, yeah, thanks for the renovation, see you later, and bye. It's his property, and I understand you want security in your relationship, so no, you are not the Someone says, you're not the asshole. Forget getting engaged. Don't do this unless you're married. Very, very many people like to agree with that. Speak of the example I just gave. I know a single mom who was dating a guy that convinced her to sell her house, then invested the money she made from the sale into renovating his house. Her name was not on the deed. Less than a year later, they got in a fight. She came home from work with a daughter the next day. The locks had been changed, and her daughter were stuck living in hotels for a few months while she saved enough money for a deposit on an apartment. The 120k she invested into the house was considered a gift, and there's no legal resources for her to get her money back. Don't contribute to any money towards the house without your name on the deed. That was rough. A much happier one. This one's called, Am I the Asshole If I Skip a Close Friend's Reception to Take My Child Trick-or-Treating? Now, for me as a parent, and I know it's a bit of a low drop, last episode I said I was a teacher, but yeah, this one I am a parent as well. I would drop anything for my kid in a heartbeat. But let's see. My friend is getting married next year, on Halloween. His wedding is child-free, which is fine. I am not part of the wedding party, but he asked if I give a speech along with our other 2 friends. We also work together every day. My child is going to be 4 next year. Halloween is one of his favorite holidays, and he feels this will be the first year my toddler truly understands the concept of trick-or-treating. I am already dreading potentially having to miss this. You only get so many firsts in your child's life. She is and will be my husband's and my only child. I realize a wedding only happens once, but in my mind, every holiday in the first with a child so young? Would I be the asshole for skipping the reception and thus not being included in the speech to take my daughter trick-or-treating? No, I don't think you're the asshole. Look, if it wasn't a child-free wedding, then maybe you could have considered something, maybe arrange something with OP or with his friend. But now, no, I don't think you would be the asshole. There's not much to say about that. So we'll see what the top comment has to say. Not the asshole, but to give him a heads up early to be honest about why. Most reasonable people understand that parents have different priorities, especially to the stuff like Halloween. Very, very true. Can we see another comment? Not the asshole. They have to expect more negative RSVPs when they pick the holiday as their wedding date. You can still contribute to the speech without being there to deliver it. Also a last story. I, 30 males, went overseas for my brother's funeral, got stuck, and now my pregnant fiancée, 29F, it says I abandoned her. I'm really struggling and could use some outside perspective. I, 30 male, have been with my fiancée, 29F, for 3 years. We were long distance for most of the time and finally moved in together around April. She currently pregnant and due at the end of December. At the end of November, my only brother passed away suddenly in Zimbabwe. He left behind 2 young children when I got the news. I was in shock. I felt a strong need to be with her, not just for the funeral, but to see my niece and nephew and support their mom as well. I booked a flight the next day and planned to be away from Wednesday to Sunday. I tried to limit the time because my fiancée is pregnant. My job couldn't give me much leave and money is tight with the baby coming. I genuinely believed I could go, say goodbye, support my family briefly, and back quickly with my partner. On the day I was meant to fly home, I've denied boarding because I didn't have my British passport with me. I traveled on my Zimbabwean passport. That's a big word for Elmo. And I didn't realize this would be an issue. Since then, I've been stuck trying to get emergency travel document. The process took much longer than expected, but I've finally been approved and I should be home early next week. Being stuck here has been awful. I'm grieving my brother, worrying about my kids he left behind, taking an unpaid leave, and constantly stressing about my pregnant fiancée being alone back home. I feel hopeless and emotionally numb. My fiancée is extremely angry and says I should have never gone, that I abandoned her when she needed me most, and that we could have saved the money. I understand how scared and overwhelming she must feel, but I hope she would be the one to understand why I felt I needed to go. Today is her birthday and she blocked me. She told me she can't do this anymore, wants to be left alone. I can't reach her at all. I've never intended to abandon her. I thought I could be there for my brother's funeral, see the children he left behind, and still be there for my partner. Instead, I feel like I've lost both at once. How do I fix this at home? Well, this is a tough one, because I understand you lost your brother and you want to support your family and you want to grieve your brother, obviously. But the hardest part for me to believe is that you traveled on your Zimbabwean passport and didn't bring your British passport, which is not very logical in my opinion, and it's hard to believe. And it's hard to say even, but yeah, you could have prevented this. I understand your fiancé isn't supposed to be happy about this, or, well, not supposed, but I understand your fiancé isn't happy about the situation, about you leaving in the first place, not only with being pregnant. It's a hard one, and it's not a question of, are you the asshole? No, of course I understand that, but it's just, everyone sucks. I understand, or at least I understand everyone's side, and that makes it hard. What would you have done in this situation? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you guys for watching, and like and subscribe.